Hey, this is Chad with Drawn and Cornered. It is November 22nd, 2021, and here is your news for the day. After our video from Friday, the verdict came in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Not guilty across the board, no charges, full acquittal. And a couple of things are very, very important for you to understand right now. One, there are a lot of people out there that seem to believe or desire the narrative to maintain more than the facts that exist in the case. And I don't know exactly why this is. I guess ratings could be an element of it. Followers could be an element of it. But I think it actually goes a lot deeper than that. I think people actually need this to be about white supremacy. They need this to be about something that it isn't. In Kyle Rittenhouse's case, the justice system off the rails and all these other things. But this is what's really important to understand, is that there are still people, there are still blue check marks out there, media personalities, folks that will tell you that he brought an illegal weapon across state lines. Didn't happen. They will tell you that he has no affiliation with Kenosha. Also not true. His father lived there. He worked there. It's only like 20 minutes away. I'm sure a lot of us actually drive 20 minutes to get to a workplace, if not more. So this notion that somehow he has no reason to be there is ridiculous. They will tell you that he was spraying bullets into the crowd. Not true. He only hit people who were attacking him, did not hit a single person that was quote unquote innocent or outside the scope of the people that were directly engaging him. Didn't happen. They will tell you that it was an illegal gun to begin with. Not true. This may be kind of a sticky point because Wisconsin law is kind of muddy on the subject, and a determination was reached by the judge that it is muddy enough and there are reasons enough for him to be able to have that weapon that they couldn't necessarily say that it was an illegal weapon. There's barrel lengths are a part of the issue. There are type of weapons that are part of the issue. This was not one of those weapons, so technically, legally, he was allowed to have it, or at least it's reasonable to think that he was allowed to have it, given that he was only 2 months from his birthday as well. This is the other aspect that I think is really interesting about this, that Kyle Rittenhouse was being charged as an adult, yet the only way that these people would get that weapons charge is if he was a child. So you got to make a choice there somewhere. And anybody who's making the argument that he shouldn't have had that weapon, ask them whether or not he should have been charged as an adult, because that will be your determinant of exactly where they sit on this line. If they are consistent in saying, no, he should be charged as a child, well, then maybe they've got a point. If they don't, and they think he should be charged as an adult because it was an adult crime, then you can't charge him as a child for having the gun. It doesn't make sense. There's no consistency to it. Anyway, not guilty on all charges. One of the last things that I think is probably the most insidious aspect of this is that a lot of people will talk about his past and after the shooting, when he was wearing a shirt that said free as F on it and was hanging out with people that may be undesirable, maybe part of the Proud Boys, maybe have some affiliations that nobody should be affiliated with. Then they'll also bring up something he said a couple months earlier about wishing he had his AR so he could end some of these riots and whatever. They are upset that that wasn't admitted into the court case because it had nothing to do with the court case. There's no relevance to it. That was what the judge's determination with. Then ask them if they're upset by the fact that the criminal histories of each one of the victims was also not allowed in court. Because if you're not going to allow the fact that the first victim, Rosenbaum, was a sexual assaulter, actually raped children, then Kyle Rittenhouse's words from 2 months earlier also aren't necessarily that big of a deal. If you're not going to bring in the fact that Huber had a criminal record, held a knife to the throat of his girlfriend or grandmother, I can't remember which one, then Kyle Rittenhouse's words from 2 months earlier also aren't admitted. So there has to be consistency here. And this judge, I think, did a great job of remaining relatively consistent all the way through. But that's what happened. As of yet, Kenosha hasn't really spiraled into any sort of violence. There have been no riots. There have been a lot of people that are upset about it, including the President of the United States coming forward and saying that there are a lot of people out there that are confused and upset about this verdict, myself included, which, again, he's throwing in with a narrative on this that makes no sense. If you're not allowed a self-defense claim in what is clearly a self-defense situation, our country is in trouble. We are in massive amounts of trouble. If you are not allowed to protect yourself and have to rely on government, which doesn't seem outside of bounds for what you'd expect left-leaning, progressive Joe Biden types to think. That's absolutely what they think. The state will be your protector. You are not allowed to protect yourself, even in a situation where we have video footage showing clearly you are defending yourself against an angry mob, a wild, out of control maniac that has got an extraordinarily long rap sheet. Nothing but violence was coming your way. You are allowed to mete out violence based on that. That is quintessential to having a society built on individualism and self-responsibility and being able to take care of your family and your person. Must happen. And unfortunately, based on the tweets and released statements of a lot of these individuals, they don't believe that. So be careful when they tell you that they want your weapons or that you shouldn't have a weapon, because they're protected by guns. But you should be protected by the state. Very different. The other story we have out there is from Waukesha, Wisconsin. It was a Christmas parade. A gentleman in a red SUV decided to just bust through the barricades and drive right through the middle of the parade. He's killed 5 already. Dozens more injured. We will see if that climbs any higher. Motive right now is a little unclear. They have said that it's not terrorism. They don't think that it was necessarily even intentional, that maybe he was just fleeing from another crime. Lots more will be coming, but right now, everybody's thinking about Waukesha. Everybody's thinking about a lot of these kids that were part of the injuries that were in there. Apparently, there was an extreme dance squad, like 9 to 13-year-old girls that all got just mowed down by this guy. And it's one of the worst stories you've heard in a while. And we don't know a whole lot. They have the person in custody. We don't know why he did what he did. We don't know what happened. We don't even know really what's going on with a lot of the victims yet, but that will be forthcoming. It is the story that is most on people's minds today, though. What you'll notice, sadly, in a lot of the reporting of this is they are tying this back to Rittenhouse, because Waukesha and Kenosha are relatively close, so they're bringing in 2 seemingly completely unconnected stories, maybe because of geography, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. The Green Bay Packers also won Super Bowls in the past. That you wouldn't see that in that story because it makes no sense. It has no relevance to the story, but you will see Rittenhouse's name in a lot of these stories, tying in the idea of terrorism and who the real evil is and what we have to watch out for. It's not gentlemen in cars that are fleeing the scene. It's 17-year-olds that are taking weapons of war onto the streets to try and protect other places and killing people in the process. So just be aware of how that reporting looks, because it is tilted, to say the least. Thank you very much for watching. This is Chad with Drawn and Cornered. We do videos like this every day with a little bit of news, a little bit of analysis, everything you need to step forward into the world with the knowledge of everything that's going on out there. If you like that sort of thing, subscribe down below, hit that bell so you get notifications every time we release a new video, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We will see you on the weekends if anything big breaks. Otherwise, thank you again for watching. This is Chad with Drawn and Cornered, and I will see you again tomorrow.